I was in the gym yesterday taking some post-workout shots after doing chest and back, and I was looking in the mirror and I was actually thinking, nice, man, like we are actually adding some significant tissue. Like I feel pretty jacked. I feel like I'm worthy to talk about building tissue on YouTube because I can do it myself. You've seen the results I get, but I can actually do it myself as well. And it was a really warming moment, and it kind of inspired me to make the video. And the title, don't for one second think I'm going to sit here and condescend my way down to you saying you're not jacked because of X, Y, and Z. I'm just going to explain what I was doing wrong in the past, what I've managed to fix and learn, and then give that to you so you can streamline your way to achieving the goal in the process. I get zero satisfaction out of sitting here and being condescending to such a supportive audience that I have of you all. So don't for one second think this is going to be an absolute grilling for you. This is just going to be, this is what I've done wrong, why I did it wrong, why I think a lot of you will be, and here's the mindset shifts that we can apply in order to overcoming them really and getting to the goal quicker than you actually can. So if you are new to the channel, in fact, and just for context, honestly, this is how I looked for the longest of time. And I'd been training for years at this point. Like, for years I've been training at this point. And honestly, this is how I looked. Which is, it's not really acceptable when you've been training for that long. So, that just to show you where I've come from, I think this picture was probably taken in about 2021, maybe even 2022. So just know I've been maybe where you are now, and I've come out the other side with actually some significant tissue. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name's Tom Sergey. Welcome. I run the Gorilla Platoon. These are the results we get. So that's just a bit about me and why I make these videos. My promise to you in this video is you're going to know what I was doing wrong and then have a roadmap of how to push past it. So let's waste no time and get straight into it. There's 5 things we're going to talk about that were potentially holding me back, and we're going to explain why they were happening and what we can do to get around it. So the first one honestly comes down to changing your workout routine too often, and that comes from a couple of reasons. Number one, if you actually are into training, you will tell yourself that I'm not getting sore anymore. Soreness is an indication of growth, so let's change the workout up to chase soreness. And you almost just chase soreness, but I could give you a random fucking exercise that you've not done in 6 weeks. You'll be sore tomorrow, of course you will, because your body's just not used to moving in that way. It doesn't mean that you grew new muscle because you got sore. It just means you did something that you weren't actually, or you hadn't had any experience in doing. And what people get wrong is they think they need to change their workout routine up all the time, shock the body, but that's not really the case. You see, you will have a certain amount of strength on a given exercise. Let's say you're going to do dumbbell shoulder press, and you've been doing machine shoulder press for the longest of time. When you switch from machine to dumbbell, you will fly up the weights to start with. In fact, let's use a different example where you're actually using a completely different style of exercise. Let's say you were doing the front raises instead of dumbbell press. And you start off at a lightish weight, and then every time you train, weirdly enough, you just get stronger and stronger at that exercise. You're like, I should have done this sooner. I'm sore. Every time I'm progressing, this is amazing. But what's actually happened is you've just started a new movement. Your body is a lot stronger than you thought it was on the weight that you started, but because it just didn't have the connection in the arm path to actually do the exercise at that load yet, your body was just adapting to what was there. Really, when you got to the top point where you're like, oh, now it's actually a grind. If I get another rep, I'm over the moon. That's you actually making progress. That's actually when you're building muscle. All that staircase weight up to it, you weren't actually building muscle. You were just catching up with your body's ability to already have done the exercise. It just didn't have it from like a mental connective perspective. So don't think by just changing exercises, you're going to get the results quicker. It really doesn't work like that. What works is you pick a solid set of exercises, and every week, if you're getting that extra fucking rep, that's that extra bit of gains. That stacks over weeks and weeks, and that's how new muscle is really built. That's one side of it, and that's a little bit more, I'd even say that's a little bit more of a smarter approach as to why you're thinking, yeah, shock the muscle, change it up, and I see it. I used to think the same as well. But the harsh reality of why people change their workout routines so often is honestly just through so much input. It's through, maybe you see your friends doing a certain exercise and they've got a big or developed whatever muscle, so you think, oh, well, I better put that into my program. And then you've watched another video online where they're telling you need to do these exercises, and then you've seen your favorite influencer that's also doing this random exercise, and before you know it, you're just changing your workout routine to fit what these random people are saying, when it's everything in context. That might work for their physique and their structure, but it might not work the best for yours. You might find different exercises connect better. And then you may see them doing a certain exercise and then they've got a really big, I don't know, upper traps, for example. So you're like, oh, well, I wouldn't mind really big upper traps. Upper traps are good. Yeah, neck's cool. Women can try and put their arms around me. They'll see I've got a thick neck and they'll want to sit on my face. And so I'll put neck in. And all you're doing is, because your brain is just full of other people's ideas and you're soaking them in, it's easily done in the modern day. Of course it is. I mean, technically right now, I'm putting things into your brain by talking about my experiences, and if you relate to me a little bit, then you're inclined to slightly listen. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, as well as everybody else. So what that's doing is you never have enough chance to just stick to one thing, focus on it for the longest period of time, put blinkers on, ignore everything else, and just dial in on that one thing. Because honestly, any plan, this is the secret, motherfuckers will try to sell you workout routines and plans. Any fucking plan will work. Honestly, even if it's slightly suboptimal. I can say these are the exercises I think work the best because of the exercise execution knowledge I have. But honestly, even if you pick the sub ones but stuck at them for 6 months, you'll build muscle. You really will. So don't like for 1 second think, oh, I need to buy so-and-so's program because they said this is the best. It's whatever you can stick to and make progress on across a long period of time. There is no secret to getting jacked other than that. But your ability to just... I say it and it sounds so easy, but honestly, like, your ability to just focus on one goal without deviating to the plan. I even do it myself sometimes. I'm like, oh, cardio, I'll do some Muay Thai for cardio. But honestly, it just takes away because it zaps my energy and I'm not as sharp when I go to the gym the next day. So I was like, what's the goal? Well, the goal is to build a really big aesthetic physique, right? Well, I'm not going to do Muay Thai because it doesn't congruent with that goal. It sounds cool and it's fun doing it, and I love sparring guys. It does make you feel masculine. It's fucking really fun to do, and I felt a lot of growth from it. But what's the goal? Is that the goal? Is the goal to be good at Muay Thai? No, not really. The goal is to get the big aesthetic physique. It's part of my brand. It's part of who I am. So this is the main goal. So don't do things that are going to take you away from that. And your ability to say no to certain things and just focus on one thing will honestly serve you very, very well. So how you combat that is you pick a goal. And like, let's be honest, if we could sit down and have a conversation together, and I'd say, okay, cool, what's the goal? And you tell me, and I ask you, why do you want the goal? And then kept asking why to every answer. We'd get down to just one simple answer as to why you want it, and whatever it is, it's up to you what the answer is, and that's absolutely fine. But we'd have one version of the truth. But then what I would then do is ask, okay, so if this is the goal, why are you doing this? And you'd be like, And we do that across like loads of different sectors towards your programming, training, and the way you approach it. And some of the stuff you'd be like, actually, yeah, this is bullshit. Like, why am I actually doing this? So my action step for you off this would be just, honestly, just take away all the inputs for a week. In fact, not even. Do you know what? Not even. Just sit in a room, look at the fucking white wall behind you, and just think, what do you want? Like, what do you actually want? Just boil it down. What do you want? And think of the physique you want and work back from there. Put the exercises in that you know that build the physique that you want, and just stick to that. Just only stick to that. And just ignore everything else for the longest period of time, and you will have exactly what you wanted. And all the other little things you kind of thought you wanted, you'd be like, I don't really care for them anyway. But it's your ability to try and get to the goal is hard when you've got your energy channeled off in loads of random fucking directions. We want to channel it into one goal, and then you'll be able to achieve it. The second one is you honestly don't train hard enough. And it's not that you train like an absolute pussy and you just tickle weights. It's honestly not that. It's you train at about 80% capacity consistently as well, which is better than the average person. But that isn't going to get you the physique you want. You're still going to train hard, you're still going to burn energy, you're still going to burn muscle glycogen, you're still going to have moved weight, you may even progress a little bit as well. But honestly, 80% is not enough. The threshold to really move the needle is you need to train at 100%. And 100% fucking hurts. Like, it hurts. And the concentric way up of that rep is slow, and it's fucking suffering, and you've taken it to failure. Taking anything to failure fucking hurts. I don't care what it is. It could be fucking eyebrow raises. Taking eyebrow raises to failure will hurt. Your forehead will be on fire, burning. Like, and it's hard. It is hard to take things to failure. You've seen previous videos that I've done on how hard to train. Those last reps are like 3 seconds in the concentric, along with 3 seconds on the way. That's a 6-second rep. And your fucking head feels like it's going to blow off because you're pushing the load up so hard, so fucking forceful. But a lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of people are training hard enough, but at 80%, but the threshold to really move the needle was 100. So you're leaving this off the table, and you've already got to this point anyway. It'd be like the equivalent of doing a really hard set and stopping at rep 8 when you still had 2 more in the tank, and training like that for the longest period of time, then wondering why you don't have the physique you want. You probably could be training harder, let's be honest. So if you can start to apply this and suffer and know it's going to be hard, you will make the gains you want to. Your best way to get around this, honestly, is to get a training partner. For my clients, they send me form clips, so they know I'm going to watch it and be like, you train like a pussy, you had a couple more reps in there. And that's needed. I need it as well. I still send form videos to my coach so he can see I'm still training with raw intensity. Because otherwise we'll slack. Subconsciously we'll slack. Because human beings like homeostasis. We like to be chilling. So if we fix that, that's one thing for sure I know I was doing wrong, and I've seen a good result of fixing it. So I'm not being condescending, and I'm not saying you're training like a pussy. I'm just saying you are leaving something on the table, because I see it across the gym for the majority of guys, and I know I was doing it myself, and after fixing it, I've seen the results. So don't think I'm being condescending. I'm just telling you this is what I've done and this is what has worked. The third thing is focusing on feeling rather than getting stronger. So for the longest of time, I would press and I would just think, can I feel my chest contracting? Is it really working if I can't feel my chest contracting? But that's not really what you want to be chasing. You don't really want to be chasing feeling. It's a fair indicator, don't get me wrong. But as long as your arm path is in the correct position, your tempo is applied to, and you go for a full range of motion, it is now only possible that you've not stretched that muscle to its full capacity, and then you're going to drive and shorten the origin and insertion together with load. You will have stretched and worked the muscle. Like, if you move it for a full range, it's now only possible. Now, I'm not saying lift with shit form and have your arm path completely off. You need to be accurate with that. I've done multiple videos about it. But the main thing to focus on is not feeling in contraction. The main thing to focus on is, this is what I did last time. This is what I've got written down in my logbook. This time I must beat it by either the reps or the load. If I can't beat either of those, I at least hit the tempo. The range of motion was better. Or at the very least, I connected a little bit more with the working muscle. I'm not saying making sure you feel it. I'm saying you actually you moved your arm path in the correct position, you shortened the origin and insertion together. And again, that's the fifth element of trying to progressively overload it. Really, you want to be focusing on the first two, at the very least the next two, and you're clutching at straws, to be honest, if that's the last metric that you're using for progress. So just get stronger and only worry about that. Don't worry about all the other noise, all the other bullshit, feeling this exercise, all this, that, the other. Just get strong, and especially get strong on exercises that challenge the muscle in the lengthened position. Utilizing dumbbells, barbells, leg press, split squat, tricep dips, cable, bicep curl, things that challenge the muscle in the lengthened position through eccentric loading. You can lift a lot more weight on than ones that you could just concentrically press. Like if you do a chest press where it converges to the top and it's harder as it gets out towards the front, you will just be able to lift less load than what you could do is if it's harder at the bottom, because you're stronger at that point. So load that up, move as much load as you possibly can, track it and beat it next time. And just think, every time I step on that gym floor, I need to beat it. I need to beat it. Which kind of leads me into number 4, not committing to the bulk. The bulk is to support point number 3, and also point number 2. It is war every time you train to try and get that extra rep and load, and you're not going to feel like it every time you do. So you need to fuel yourself up correctly for that training session. The bulk is there to support gym floor performance. Gym floor performance will grow you the muscle, nothing else. The bulk is there to support it. But people don't commit to the bulk enough because they're scared of losing their abs. Even me. I speak about fitness on YouTube. I put my physique out there, and I just understand there are times where you're just not going to be as lean, and that's okay, because you need to push through those times to stack a shit ton of muscle. And then once you've done that, guess what? You can cut back down, and then you're going to have the better physique that you wanted anyway. So just commit to the bulk. Get used to wearing t-shirts. Get used to not having your abs out for the sake of 6 months, but really committing to the bulk, focusing on point 2 and 3, and you're going to be so much better off and glad that you did. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels and wasting time, because you're not as lean as you really wanted to be anyway. But you didn't fully commit to the bulk and support that gym floor performance with the nutrition you needed. The last point I'll say is, I actually think a lot of people don't believe they can be in great shape. I really don't. Because if they did, they would position themselves accordingly. They would see themselves as an athlete on a mission to get to a certain goal. It's like the equivalent of, let's say, you know someone that's a marathon runner, they want to get a sub 3 hours 30 marathon time. They'll see themselves as an athlete, they want to get that goal, they'll do the training as if, they'll do the recovery as if. I don't think people take gym the same way. I really don't think they take it as serious. And people generally don't believe they can look really jacked. And honestly, you have a human body just like the next man that is really jacked. The only difference is his standard was, no, I will be jacked. That is who I am. I am worthy of this. I will not be seen as a weasel dick vermin, so I will do everything in my power to make sure this happens. So you honestly need to tell yourself that you can get jacked. You need to fully believe it. But the only way you're going to believe it is by starting with your habits. I'm an athlete, I go to bed and get 8 hours sleep every night. I'm an athlete, I drink 5 litres of water a day. I'm an athlete, I prep my meals ready for what's to come. I'm an athlete, I log and record my sessions. And you do those daily. And as you do those daily, you confirm to yourself, no, I am an athlete, here's the proof. That is the level you need to go to if you really want to get this. Because the problem is, so many people have told you, you're scrawny, you're fat, you can't get jacked. And when you try, you've got all their beliefs that have been pushed onto you and your self-image, and then you think you can't do it because the society and the world has kind of told you that you can't, even though you actually think it's bullshit what they're saying and it's not true, but it still rubs off on you in some way, shape or form. So the way you honestly cut that off is you stack the habits on a day-to-day basis. You have to tell yourself, I am a fucking athlete, I am a god, I will be jacked, and I will have the physique that I want. If you don't believe it, it will never happen. It really will never happen. If you honestly don't believe you deserve to have that physique, it won't happen. But where it will happen from is getting the physique you want wants to be a byproduct of who you are as a person. I am this type of person, and because I have to have this physique. I am a person that is disciplined. I turn up every day. I do the things I don't want to do, even when it's fucking tough. Even when I'm trying to eat this meal out and motherfuckers are trying to get me to go out for dinner, and I stick to it because I'm disciplined. I'm consistent enough. I turn up every day to make sure I achieve this goal, and I'm resilient enough that when shit is going wrong, I still turn up the next day, even though I'm beaten down, and I get after it again. And when you do that for long enough, you will have the physique because you're just doing the action steps. It's like saying, I'm going to put water on, I'm going to turn the kettle on and it's going to turn hot. Yeah, obviously, because that's the outcome. We need the same for you. We need the outcome to match who your actions are. Don't even focus on the outcome, just focus on your daily actions and you're going to get the physique you want. And that honestly, that goes for everything in life. It's just your ability to have a slight little bit of arrogance, because in the beginning, you actually don't have the skills or even the beliefs that you think you can get there. So you actually have a little bit of arrogance to be like, no, I will get this because I'm me. And you kind of need to have that. And it's not really cool for me to say that, but it's honestly true. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I can have whatever the fuck I want because I'm me. And you think you're special? Everyone does. That's why no one is. But you need to believe you actually are. Because when you do, you'll start acting accordingly. And as soon as you start acting accordingly, it comes back round to you. You build on the habits and you actually bolster that ego. Like, people think having an ego is a bad thing. It is really not, because your ego is what will carry you through when shit gets hard and tough. So they're the 5 things I was doing wrong and what I've fixed to then get it right in the right place. And as a result, starting to grow some nice muscle. So a little bit of a different video. Hopefully you found value in it. If you did, subscribe. If you didn't, though, it's absolutely fair enough. And I will see you tomorrow.